Origins of Genis-Vell. Cloned from the DNA of the Kree warrior Mar-Vell, Genis-Vell was implanted with false memories, making him believe he was instead Star Fox's son. He was then artificially aged so that he'd be ready to face Mar-Vell's enemies. He inherited the title of Captain Marvel, but succumbed to the madness of cosmic awareness as he became nearly omnipotent and sought to fix the universe. He redeemed himself afterwards and became part of the Thunderbolts, where he took the title of Photon and was killed by Baron Zemo. Genis-Vell is the clone son of Captain Marvel and Elysius. His growth was accelerated and false memories implanted so he would be old enough and mature enough to face his enemies quickly. He was made to believe that he was the son of Star Fox. He was given the negabands of his father and took the name Legacy, and he voluntarily chose the power, although slightly forced when he and his mother were attacked. It was some time before he gained true understanding of what it meant to be a hero. At first he abused his power, using it to intimidate others and take revenge on people that had bullied him in the past. The Silver Surfer intervened and taught him a valuable lesson in the abuse of power. He was set straight after this. He was still far from being his father after this thought and focused on seeking revenge against Nitro for causing his father's death. Against his mother's wishes, he sought out Nitro where he found him on Hala. Legacy was able to defeat his foe but was unable to kill him, remembering his father's words, "Defeat your enemy, do not become your enemy." He brought Nitro back to Titan for imprisonment. On Titan, he was met by Jack of Hearts who was seeking assistance in rescuing Ganymede from Thanos and Terrax. Although still inexperienced, Legacy agrees to help and they soon found themselves locked in battle with Tyrant. They proved to be no match for Tyrant even with the assistance of Ganymede and Terrax. When Thanos engaged Tyrant, Legacy and Terrax rescued the others and escaped. As Legacy, he was able to quickly get to know his powers but still had trouble with the act of being a hero. He had no father, so he sought out the Silver Surfer once more for some advice. He was directed to the Surfer by a call through his ESP senses from the Surfer, but when he arrived the Surfer was dead. He used all the power he could muster and was able to revive the Surfer and restore his power and life. He began calling himself Captain Marvel, which put him in conflict with Monica Rambeau Photon, but this was resolved when she decided to take the name Photon, becoming the new Captain Marvel. In order to save the life of Rick Jones, he bonded with him at the molecular level using the negabands very much in the same manner that his father before him had done. Thus, he and Rick would split time between Earth and what they thought was the negative zone. That was until an encounter with Drax that revealed to them that they were actually traveling to the planet of Kia, the home planet of Hulk's deceased lover Jarella, in the Microverse. During that same encounter, he meets Visalia, a woman that claims to be Jarella's sister, and she mistakes Drax for Hulk because of his appearance and diminished intellect. Drax, believing that he is Hulk, fights Marv and the Micronauts. Eventually, he is stopped and Visalia is exposed as a fake. This bond also caused his cosmic awareness to awaken and, in order to prevent him from going insane, Moondragon placed psychic barriers in his mind to limit his new power and prevent him from going insane. They were always in constant contact with each other, and when they spoke to each other, they would see a giant floating head. Rick gave him the nickname Marv during their mental conversations. During one of their first adventures together, they encountered a young girl who was losing control of her nigh-omnipotent abilities. The Skrulls wanted to use her as a weapon, and the Silver Surfer wanted to kill her because she had the power to destroy the universe. Rick was able to save her by telling her to use her powers to alter the time stream, so she would never get the powers. During Maximum Security, Marv meets the vengeful children of a man that his father killed, Zerog and Unarog. Z is killed, but Una is kidnapped by the Kree bloodhounds so she can be taken back to the Kree homeworld to be fixed. Marlowe and Moondragon try to convince him to fly to the Kree homeworld and rescue her, but he refuses because she tried to kill him. After receiving word from the Micronauts that Drax was acting irrationally, Marv went to him and tried to help him. Soon, it was found out that Psycho Man was controlling him in order to free Marv's evil future clone from an alternate dimension named Fred. Fred easily defeated Marv and used him as an experiment for a device that would take out the Microverse. In the end, it backfires, and Marv uses the machine to drive Fred insane and he blows himself up. When the alien Death God Walker starts trying to kill Death, Thanos reveals that Marlowe has been her host body since she was restored to life by the leader. Marv, Thor, Thanos, and Marlowe then travel to Purgatory in order to protect her, but Walker follows them. Since it's impossible to die in Purgatory, he forces Marv to switch places with Rick, and proceeds to blow off his arm and ages him nearly 100 years. An angry Death takes over Marlowe and tears all of Walker's power away from him. Rick's accelerated aging is transferred through the negabands and it begins to affect Marv's mind by knocking him unconscious. He is mentally sent into the far future and he's at the grave of Songbird. On the grave, it says that they were married and had 2 kids. Marv thinks that he is dreaming, and he is then attacked by a shadowy figure that blames him for Songbird's death. His mind then starts traveling back in time, but stopping at various points in his life. One of these various points that he stops at is the time when Songbird is giving birth to their second child and he is shocked to see his mother return to life. Before she can tell him how it happened, his mind jumps again to a battle between himself and Magus. His last stop is during a time when he and Rick are both in the Microverse, with Rick yelling at him over his messed up life. Eventually, Marv's mind returns to the present and he regains consciousness in the Microverse. Upon his return to Earth, Rick becomes extremely depressed and tries to kill himself. Meanwhile, Marlowe's comic shop is in financial trouble due to a new competitor that is being run by the magician Mahayogi. Yogi built the store so that he could gather enough sacrifices to summon the demon Grendel's mother. Unfortunately for Yogi, Grendel's mother doesn't want to help him and she leaves him to fight Marv and Moondragon by himself. The fight is about even until Rick uses his vast knowledge of cliched ways to defeat a villain, which helps them deflect a spell back at Yogi and destroying him utterly. In order to find a way to return Rick to his actual age, Marv travels to the Kree homeworld to ask the Supreme Intelligence for help. He is defeated by Ronan the Accuser when he arrives, and is then placed in a cell with Unarag. He frees them from their cell, and confronts the Supreme Intelligence. He agrees to help Rick if Marv travels into the negative zone and brings back a rare type of radiation, but the radiation only comes from a sun under the watch of Blastar's son Burstar. Una is able to manipulate Burstar into turning against his father and they are able to get the radiation. When they return, the Supreme Intelligence tries to fix Rick but fails and he is truly shocked at his failure. A short time later, Rick returns to his normal age and Marv believes that it was a delayed reaction to the process. Powers and abilities. Due to his eternal mother, Genis is much more powerful than his father was, although he still must use the negabands to use his abilities to their full potential. Initially, he only utilizes his negabands for flight, energy blasts, and transportation to and from the negative zone. After he is bonded with Rick Jones, his latent cosmic awareness, that he inherited from his father, is unleashed. His link to another dimension is also redirected from the negative zone to the Microverse. Originally, he is able to focus his cosmic awareness, granting him the ability to realize exactly what he needs to know at any particular time. When his powers expand, he is driven mad by the vastness of his cosmic awareness. While insane, he returns from the dead, raises Rick Jones from the dead, controls multiple other dead bodies, creates holograms, empowers an alien serial killer Karl Coven and is able to survive a combined assault from the Shi'ar, the Kree, and the Skrulls' massive fleets. After Baron Helmut Zema accidentally links him to other sections of time when he heals him, Genis-Vell absorbs the negabands and develops teleportation powers that could transport him through both time and space. The degree of his cosmic awareness had matured to a higher degree. The radioactive man had theorized that he could control the photons of which all things are composed, implying he has large-scale reality-altering powers. While wearing his negabands, he is capable of interstellar flight, becomes resistant to many attacks in the vacuum of space as well as no longer requiring food, water, air, or sleep. The bands however are incapable of distinguishing water from a proper atmosphere, therefore a wielder of the negabands could still drown despite being protected from the vacuum of space. The wielder is also granted enhanced strength and a heightened sense of awareness. The bands have considerable ability to manipulate, absorb, and project various types of energy, but to a lesser extent than that of the quantum bands.